In the back of the book segment tonight, the meltdown of the Obama presidency. That's the argument that Bret Stephens, foreign affairs columnist for the Wall Street Journal, is making in a great, provocative new piece in Commentary magazine. And Bret joins me now to explain how it's all come to this. Bret, so I read this piece this morning. Pretend I didn't read it. And it's about basically Obama's foreign policy failures. How would you boil your conclusions down for people like me who can't read?
Well, first of all, we put it in really big type. I don't know if you're,
there you go.
You can see it on the screen. Look, the Obama presidency is like the Brazilian national soccer squad. I mean, these guys were supposed to be playing the brilliant game, pursuing pivots, resetting relations with Russia, restoring America's good name abroad. And then, like the Brazilians, they folded, they collapsed, they just absolutely capitulated. And now it's not even in dispute that this president's foreign policy is a total failure. You have Hillary Clinton saying it, you have Zbigniew Brzezinski, Carter's national security advisor, saying it. It's sort of unanimous. The question, Greg, is why is it failing? And there are three schools of thought. Basically, what liberals will tell you is it's failing because the world is this terribly complicated place. America is in decline. The president simply can't control events around the world. And Obama sometimes likes to explain himself that way. Second theory, somewhat more convincing, is this is simply an out-of-touch president who is not really giving this job his full attention. Maybe it's because he won re-election, he feels his legacy is secure, but time and again, the president is caught flat-footed by events. Some of his closest advisors complain that he's just indifferent to the details of governance. The argument I'm making in this article is it's not simply that. This is a president who's pursuing an ideological goal, which is reduce America's footprint. You know, environmentalists say reduce, reuse, recycle. In a sense, that's Obama's view for the United States. He wants a smaller footprint for the United States around the world. And as American power and influence shrinks, you have all of these groups coming up seeking to fill the void.
Yeah, so in fact, if you had taken your article and instead have called it a failure and given it to President Obama, he would have taken the whole article as a compliment. That, he's listing all of my successes because all of these together have shrunk this tumor. Because he believes our influence as detrimental to the world.
Right. He basically believes that wherever America goes in the world, problems follow, that we always, in effect, make things worse. And what you're actually seeing around the world is suddenly Vladimir Putin realizes that no one's really in charge in NATO. The Iranians understand that they're going to walk through the door in terms of their pursuit of a nuclear weapon. The Iraqis, or the various groups in Iraq, said, hey, no one's going to stop us. There is simply no one in charge. Same deal in China. And so they're rushing out. And people are forgetting that this period of general peace and prosperity that we've enjoyed since the 1940s, since the beginning of Pax Americana, didn't just happen by accident. It happened because successive American presidents said, if not us, there's no one else. There's no UN, there's no multilateralism, and we certainly don't want the Russians or the Chinese running the show. So Pax Americana brings huge benefits with it, and this president's ideology is that Pax Americana is basically a bad idea.
Is this damage that we've seen, is it permanent? I mean, is it possible after 6 years that there's no way back?
No, look, I don't think that's true for this simple reason. America's in retreat, but I don't think America is in decline. When people tell you, you know, this is a country in decline, hey, this is the country where fracking is happening. This is the country where iPhones are being made. I mean, in so many ways, there's a renaissance of American ingenuity simply being gummed up by a regulatory state, by a president who doesn't believe in the very things that make this country great. Russia's on the march, but Russia's actually in decline. Its population is falling. Europe is in decline. The Chinese, people say, oh, the Chinese are going to take over the world. When I was growing up, Japan was going to take over the world. There's always someone else that's going to take over the world. The resources, the ingenuity, the capacity for self-renewal is in this country. The problem is not having an administration that is taking advantage of it.
Right. So basically, America succeeds despite the leader's failure. That we're going to still pull it through. It's just going to be a little harder.
You know, one of the things that always amazes me is, you know, you meet, say, the president of a country like Colombia, or, you know, various other countries, and you say, gee, this country's life or death succeeds on whether it's a good president or not. In a way, the miracle of America is we can have terrible presidents, and yet here we are. Basically a broadly powerful, prosperous, and confident country that can do things if only we have good leaders.
Yeah, it's a testament to our system that we can withstand these things, these internal problems. I always feel like what's happening is punishment for our past transgressions. You know what I mean? It's like President Obama's like, you shouldn't have had Iraq, so you shouldn't have invaded Iraq, so I'm just going to keep my hands off and let it
Yeah, you know, Henry Kissinger talks about this oscillation between overcommitment and isolationism, and we are oscillating way too far to isolationism.
Okay, thanks, Bret. Mr. Stephens, actually.